So, how are y'all doing after that big storm last night? Cleared a lot of stuff out, including your camp, I understand.
Well, now, actually, wherever I put my knife, we were fine. So I was just making some believers last night, that's all I was doing.
I wasn't trying to.
Witchcraft, ain't it something?
I was dry as a bone in my little tent, living on life.
Not the rally. Well, for those of you who are at my class yesterday, we're going to build a little bit on what we did then. We worked on, I'm going to try my best not to be distracted by that crazy little boy cat.
So much fun.
I went to the bathroom at, I don't know, about 1 o'clock this morning, and I just looked around the corner at the kitchen, and he was wrapped around the coffee pot. I don't know what he was doing. He was like, and his head was under, like he was going to lick the spout. It was so fascinating that I just stood watching him, and then he did that thing that cats do where he was like, "Do you hear me? No, you don't see me. I'm not here. I'm not."
Nobody witnessed that.
That's crazy. And the Siamese cat was on the floor, obviously supposed to be the lookout. I was watching whatever the heck he was doing wrapped around the coffee pot. So they both got busted. And I was like, damn, dudes, what? What are you doing? And they're like, why are you awake?
Yeah, you got told out.
Yeah. I'm a secret keeper, but not for you. I'll be calling you out. But I understand he hasn't yet to have his stones removed. So
Right,
he'll calm
his
down.
cherries aren't pitted
Cherries
yet.
are
Next week.
His cherries are not pitted yet.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. I've not heard that. And I've been in this industry for more than 15 years. And I've not heard
them
that.
all.
I love it.
There you go.
He may possibly be in my car on the way home. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
He's a cutie and
I love that.
a reprobate.
Yes. And
Yeah.
you don't find the orange tabbies with the classic tabby pattern very often. And he's got the classic tabby pattern.
So, if he's gone,
I know where
Come on.
I am not a light weaver. I am not a being of light. I am not a spirit being on an earthly journey. I am an hard earth being. I got dirt under my nails. Yes, even now, I have dirt under my nails. My feet are always dirty. I often don't smell good. I'm an earthy, dirty person. Now, I'm a Pisces double Scorpio, so I don't know why I'm not like lots of Taurus and earth signs, but I'm just a really pretty earthy person. In addition to that, my earliest training was in folk magic. So that's all about the down and dirty. So today we're going to talk about endarkenment. And we're going to talk a little bit about protection magic. But mostly we're going to talk about how if you are only ever a light worker working in the light, not only are you obnoxious to real people around you, but you are missing half of all there is in existence. So if I can somehow lure you over into some endarkenment, just lure you in with chocolate chip cookies,
Dark chocolate.
or the dark chocolate, or dark coffee, or dark beer, or dark rum. And I can somehow lure you to the place where you are comfortable at least thinking about the concept of endarkenment, then I will have done my work for today. We all know what enlightenment is. I think we all have an idea of what it is. And we come out of cultures that make us want to flee the sort of painful, hard darkness that we and our ancestors have had to endure, and to find a place that is more stable and more easily viewed from all sides, so that we may perceive danger however it presents itself. So I think that's the reason for the enlightenment boom that we want. We want to be able to see. We want to have clear vision about who it is we are and what it is we're doing. And because of that, I think we've taken steps too far. And we have said, oh, but the darkness, oh, that's a scary place. And plus there are all the stories of children being afraid of the dark, adults being afraid of the dark. I mean, there's a racist component to all of this too, that darkness is somehow less than light. So when I'm inviting you into this world of dark and juicy, yummy, moist, and dark and okay, think of the best chocolate cake you ever had.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that one. You know.
Oh.
Then what I'm asking you to do is to not return to your emo teenager self. Some of you, I'm looking at you right now, so I bet you were an emo teenager. All pseudo goth, black from head to toe.
No, not sure. I had a lot of goth friends, and I did not, I wouldn't pronounce his name, but I was told I didn't have to dress goth because I'm just
You're,
goth.
yeah,
I'm just that dark.
it's your goth soul.
I guess.
So we're not talking about a branding technique, though that certainly is really popular in the pagan world right now. As long as I can brand this and monetize it, I've done really, really well. I talk a lot about healing. You know, last night we did green and healing magic. There are things that happen in the dark that can only happen in the dark, and one of those things is healing. So we know that the only way a body can truly heal is through sleeping, being in darkness, letting all of your systems recalibrate if they can, and by getting rest. That's why I told you last night, find ways to rest even if you can't sleep. Our impetus, thanks to Calvin, is that if I can't sleep, I got to be up, I got to be getting something done, I got to be accomplishing something, I got to be monetizing something, because I have no real value unless I am producing and bringing something else in. And because of that, we don't get nearly enough rest. We certainly don't get nearly enough sleep, most of us. If you get a lot of sleep and rest, bless you. But that usually only happens to us 2 times. When we're pregnant, like Sonia is, and you are forced into it, or when you're really, really ill and you have to get some rest. But resting, being in the darkness for resting, is the best. The man I love, who is a fabulous musician, decided 2 nights ago he was going to sleep with these enormous runway lights on in the bedroom we were staying. And I kept waking up feeling like it was the Inquisition, feeling like I needed to confess to something. I didn't know what it was, but I rolled around all night and then I said, why can't we turn off the lights? He didn't know how. I don't know how to turn lights on. Okay. Well, he's pretty and he's incredibly talented, as you'll find out tonight. Not the brightest brain in the box. So I got those turned off, and then I could rest because then it was dark. Because I'm a person when the sun is, I'm a farmer. When the sun comes up, I get up. And when the sun goes down, it's like, do I really have to stay up till the 11 o'clock news? Because I'm really tired. So that's one aspect of endarkenment as healing. The other place that I want you to consider exploring is your own personal dark space. Because the other thing that happens in darkness is germination. And I'm looking at Willow because we've been talking about plants all morning. Plants go underground for the most part. The seeds go underground. Some of them, in the case of like ginseng, which I'm growing now, it's a crapshoot. You put that stuff underground and you give it perfect conditions, and in 18 months it may sprout, but it might not. There are trees whose seeds only will crack and sprout and germinate if they have been hit a certain temperature. So that 4 years ago, in the Southern Highlands, I live in the Southern Highlands of Appalachian in western North Carolina, we had tremendous wildfires. Not like California, but tremendous for us. And we kept having to remind ourselves that there are plants that only thrive after wildfire. So it clears out all that underbrush that has probably been gathering for generations. It clears that out and allows new life to come into a situation. I want to take you on a guided meditation. Oh, good, we're still good on time. I warned you all last night that I tend to take you to the edge of a rabbit hole and push you in. But I'm going to try to not do that today because I want us to cover up a bunch of what I think is important stuff. So we're going to talk about endarkenment, but we're also going to talk about the notion of taking responsibility for your own protection. And I'm going to go through the shielding exercise I did last night and I will tell you a couple of crazy rabbit hole stories about that. So in darkness, the darkness is where seeds germinate. Darkness is where you rest. So if all you do is live in the light, then those are going to be two things you are maybe not going to be able to do so well. The other thing is that we, no matter, and pointing at all of you, no matter where you come from, we all come from broken cultures because we come from Western civilization.
Yep.
And Western civilization has been broken for thousands of years. I'm going to say since the Council of Nicaea, but you may find it back even farther than that. The Roman Empire was not a pretty place. Even though our former government is based on the Roman Empire. Does that surprise anybody? No. So, the other piece of endarkenment that is the harder piece. So you can nod at me, you can think about moist chocolate cake and chocolate chip cookies, and oh yes, I have to have the lights off when I sleep too, Byron. How sad for you, those runaway lights. You can be thinking all of that, but the reality is there are broken pieces inside all of us. We came out of a broken culture. So even if you were blessed with a childhood that was like Ozzie and Harriet, you weren't. Let's just not pretend you weren't. But even if you came out of a situation like that, you still live in a culture that is completely broken, where there are more layers of isms than we can even begin to think about. So when I talk about tower time, one of my books is about that. It's called Earthworks, Ceremonies in Tower Time. See, I can remember the title of that because I named that one. In that, I talk about the imminent collapse of all of these top-down systems. And that's where we are now. So the systems, they collapse, and then they recalibrate, and then they collapse again, and then they recalibrate. But make no mistake, the systems are coming down. If we have an election in 8 years, or let's see, where are we now? 7 years. If we have an election in this country, then it will be a solid, hardcore miracle. Because this empire is ending. And it behooves all of us to figure out what we do here at the edges of an ending empire. Some of the best theories that I have read are about the breakup of the nation into 7 other nations, so that we will do that. We already know that California has secession papers drawn up, and yes, when they go, they're taking Oregon and Washington with them. We know that all Texas can dream of is not being part of this country. Good. Good. Get the hell out. Get the hell off. We are sisters in the kingdom. And I say this stuff to people, and they go, but Byron, but then where's your hope? I can't go without hope. Well, if you can't go without hope, find some, because I'm not here to leverage that for you. I really am not. There's a paper that Derek Jensen did in Orion magazine. I don't remember the year, and it's called something like On Hope. And he says he's got no more hope. He has no hope at all. And there was an interview with Attenborough. You know, that sweet-faced older man on the NewsHour. He was interviewing David Attenborough, and they were talking about all that adorable stuff. You know, baby animals, monster animals. And the fact that David Attenborough has like 25 of the same shirt and pants, so that no matter when they're filming, he's still wearing the right outfit. I mean, it's really clever stuff. And then he leans over and you can just tell he's waiting for the pearls of wisdom to drop. And he goes, so what inspires you? What gives you hope? And Attenborough just looked at him like, oh, I got no hope. I mean, I got shirt and pants that match. I got 20 sets of those. But if you think there's any hope, no. Time out. We're done. And this guy, his face just broke. He was just like, you mean he's not? No, ain't nothing coming to save us. Jesus ain't coming. I mean, they've been waiting on Jesus 2,000 goddamn years, and he's still waiting. I like to think when he comes, he's going to come to my house because I'm going to make him some hot biscuits. Hot, fresh biscuits, good butter, Irish butter, always. Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to put him in the car. I'm going to take him to every damn little Baptist church in my town. And I'm going to say, hey, guess who got in the car? Somebody you never even guessed. Here's Jesus. It's my dream. So I am like Attenborough and like Jensen. I'm a person without hope, except for this. Some of you will know this. After the Permian extinctions destroyed 99.7% of life on the planet, then we have the Jurassic and the Triassic period. That always gives me hope. Life finds a way. We won't be here to enjoy it, but somebody will be. So, endarkenment. Here you go. So because we live in broken cultures, and because they are broken cultures that link together and form the Uber culture that is even more broken. Because of all of it, she's like, please tell me. She's
like making sure that there was fly.
Because of that, they're all coming in. It's just I mentioned Attenborough, isn't it? It's like Attenborough. I love that guy.
Talking about dark.
I know. Here's the
There he is.
endorsement. And the one person sleeping is the little yellow guy. He's over here licking himself like, oh. It's too much going on here. I'm going to take you down a quick rabbit hole. My temple, which is Mother Grove Goddess Temple, sits on a triple crossroad. So we were drawn to, led to, told to, those of you who work with Hecate, we were told to do a Hecate ritual. There was a big hex involved. It was just, pretty Hecate related stuff. And this one woman called me and said, is it okay if I come? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So we're in a circle together, and she's sitting there with a dog like this, an elderly black dog. The dog just sits there. So the woman falls asleep during the ritual, and the dog is up and alert the whole time. And afterwards, the people in the church said, I didn't understand. Why was she even here? That's crazy. She didn't participate. She slept through it. Because she brought the dog. Hecate needed a black dog. She brought the dog. She didn't have to be here. She just brought the dog. So I feel like Hecate.
I brought the dog. And wait, her real name is Lilith.
All demons all the time. Yeah. So we bring with us into our adult lives. I'm assuming you're all adults. Maybe. We bring into our adult lives the collective fear and longing and trauma of our childhoods. Yes, definitely. But also bring into our adulthood the collective fear and trauma and longings of the larger culture. And because of that, we tend to carry around more baggage than is actually ours. Often when I'm working with clients, either in a witchcraft capacity or as a tarot reader, I will say to them, it's time now to put down some of those burdens that aren't yours to carry. I'm amazed at the people who still carry either their mother or their father's burdens. And not the burdens of God. not the burdens of what their parents did to them, because that certainly is burden enough, but the epigenetic longing of generations before you. So we carry that too. Often, for many of us, that's just too much. And as we get older, we get heavier and heavier and more laden with things that are not ours to carry. So right now, where you are, if you are comfortable closing your eyes, take a nice, a nice deep cleansing breath. And imagine that you open an old-fashioned suitcase. The kind of suitcase that has the stickers on it from lots of different destinations. And maybe it has a picture of a steamship and says Havana on it. Imagine an old-fashioned suitcase like that. And now you click it open. It has that very distinctive sound as you click both of those paddles over, and it opens it up. And the lid pops up, and it has that beautiful silky lining like old suitcases did. But it's also full of things. And you don't need to visualize what those specific things are, but for some of you, you will know what they are. It is your mother's high school diploma, because she'd never finished high school and she regretted that the rest of her life. It is your father's Vietnam military service. It is the fact that you were bullied in the 7th grade. I want you to just rifle through that big old suitcase and take out of it anything you can reasonably remove. We all tend to be pretty sentimental about things sometimes, and there may be some things you're not willing to give up yet. Keep those for now, but know that you carry this suitcase with you all the time wherever you go. So you might just as well empty it a little bit of it at a time, if you can, until it's lighter than air. So take one thing out now and put it to the side. And as you are breathing deeply, and going through the tchotchkes, spend a moment with each one of them. And either set it aside or put it back in. And breathe. And breathe. And when you are ready, close the lid on the suitcase. Snap those flanges down that will keep it locked and closed. And pick it up and test the weight of your suitcase. Is it lighter? Is it less rattling? How is your suitcase feeling now? And now for the duration of our time here together, just leave that there beside you. You don't need to carry that here. We're going to go on another journey in a few minutes. That's going to take us to a place where we're going to meet something scary. And I don't want you to be laden with that. So when you're comfortable, open your eyes and return to us. And now do a nice deep rub your hands together. Get some friction going. Remind yourself that you are an in-soul being and a nice fleshy, yummy body. Good. Take some out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Good. The fear that we carry with us, was it you I turned to do and said, fear is a mind killer? It was somebody I said to this morning. There are so many things we could do if we just weren't afraid of family reaction, societal reaction, our personal reaction. What happens if I do that and I succeed? What happens if I do that and I fail? So we add layer on layer on layer of the fears that confront us. So right now, as you're sitting here, think of one thing you're afraid of. One thing. It could be a great big thing. It could be a little tiny thing. Like, I'm scared of spiders. I am. I have arachnophobia. Somebody said, you should see that movie, Arachnophobia. And I said, people with arachnophobia don't watch movies called Arachnophobia. So what is that thing that you're afraid of? Because now we are going to go down. We're going to go down deep. And we're going to meet that thing. And you're going to see exactly how important or not important that thing is. So you ready? Ready to go on another journey so quickly? Go ahead and ground yourselves. And these two are like the perfect example that I was talking about last night when I said, all right, we're going to do some grounding. And you all just did it. It was like, all right, Byron, we're ready. Ready for a grounding. Look at you all. And can you feel how grounded your neighbors are? So there's not that expansion of energy flowing out this way. It's like, well, I'm here, I'm present. I'm present with you, I'm present here, she's present. Okay, do your thing. Perfect, present. Not grounded. So very present. So you're nicely grounded. And now we're going to let's go visit a big oak tree. There's a couple of beautiful oak trees on this property that I've seen already. Big, powerful master oaks. So we're going to do, and some of you all have done this before, nice deep breaths, nice deep breaths. And I will occasionally remind you to breathe because we tend to focus on words and emotions and the breathing slips away. So nice deep breath. Good, good. Now, feel free to leave everything here, your water bottles and your scarves and whatever else, your shoes, because this is a safe space for you to be in now, and it is a safe place for your stuff to be in as we travel. I'm going to make a tent around us that you will not see that will keep us whatever temperature is best for you. So if you like it hot, it's going to be hot. If you like it cool, it's going to be cool. And we're going to travel as a little pack of people. Let's face it, humans are pack hunters. We always got to be hanging with our peeps. And we'll take the dogs with us if they'll go. But they may decide that they're going to stay with the little yellow cat and just have it, nap it out for a while. So in your mind's eye and in your mind's body, I want you to rise up from where you're sitting. Have a last sip of whatever hydrating thing you have with you. And then we're going to go out the front door and we're going to make sure that the kitties all stay in and the puppies and whatever humans don't want to come with us. And we're going to go. You can come with us. She's not sure she wants to go. I wonder what started that. It was like everybody's leaving and where you all going? I want to go.
Yeah, she's sensitive.
So we're going out the front door. We're going to be careful that nobody gets out. They didn't be supposed to be coming out. And I want you to notice how fresh the air is out there, how bright the sun is, how beautiful the world is around you. And breathe. And breathe. Good. And then we're going to walk down the path, all of us together. And our step is light, but we are holding in our, yeah, baby, you can sit by me. We are holding in our non-dominant hand what in Appalachian culture we call the soft hand. So the soft hand is your non-dominant hand, and the hand you write with is your strong hand. So in your soft hand, you are holding the heavy burden of that fear that you recognized and named a few minutes ago. And we are chatting as we go because we are communication people. And even Mercury retrograde can't stop that. The dogs are having a little sniff contest over here. No, sniff me here. No, sniff me over there. Fine, fine. We come at last to the big master oak. And we notice, maybe for the first time, but maybe not, we notice that this oak has a doorway cut in it. So Willow opens the doorway because this is her land, after all. And she invites us in. And there is a surprising amount of softly filtered green light in this place. And like a TARDIS, it is much bigger on the inside than it looks from the outside. So we go down a set of beautiful wooden curved staircase. We go down a curved staircase. And it seems to go on forever and ever. And we stop periodically and we take a little rest and a breather and do that. Now take a nice deep, deep, deep breath. Good. And we continue down, spiraling in the same way that time spirals deeply into the earth. And as we begin to notice that that green light is dimming, we come to the very bottom of this circular staircase. And we make sure we are all gathered together. I am counting heads like a tour guide to make sure you're all here. And we notice at the bottom of the stairs that the quality of light is different. It is the color of bone, soft old bone, this light. And everything around us is soft and old. For we are in the very holy of holies of our ancestors. We are in the place where lives are released. We are in the place where ancestors meet their descendants. We are in that place where all things are possible. Where nothing is impossible. And breathe, and breathe. And now there is a hallway there. It is such a beautiful hall. There are soft candle-lit sconces on the walls. And we cannot see the ceiling. It is so high up. It is a beautiful, beautiful chamber. And there in the center of the chamber is a long, long table. And breathe. And breathe. There are doorways off this lovely hall, and each one of us goes to the doorway that calls to us. Whether there is an image carved on the door, or the color of the door appeals to you. Take a moment now to see the door that is your door, and to go towards it. And be as specific as you can. My doorway is always a deep hunter green, and it has an old-fashioned knocker on it that is shiny brass, like an old-fashioned horse brass. And breathe, and breathe. Good. Now for some of you, the doorway will lead into a room. For some of you, the doorway will lead to more stairs. For some of you, the doorway will be a passageway into the very heart of the mountain. But in either case, it takes you to the place you are to be, and in that place there is a table with a chair on either side. Now you may have a stone bench rather than a chair, but there is a place for you to sit, and there is a table, and there is place on the other side of the table for another being to sit. And breathe, and breathe. And now I want you to open your soft hand there on the top of the table and release the fear you have carried with you all the way into this place. The fear that you have carried with you for so long. And breathe and breathe and breathe. And when the fear is released, it assumes a form. And it assumes a form that then can sit in the other seat. So you are sitting with a table between you. You are sitting with this fear that is your fear, your long fear. And breathe. And breathe. From a doorway beside the table, little doorway opens. It's like a butler's pantry. It opens up and there is a pot full of tea and 2 cups and a plate of your favorite thing to eat with tea. It might be those chocolate chip cookies we talked about earlier. I'm kind of fixating on them myself right now. It might be 2 slices of that delicious cake. But either way, you are here to offer hospitality to this thing you have feared for so long. You are offering the earliest and the most powerful spiritual value, hospitality, to this thing of which you are afraid. So you are the person who pours the tea. You pass the plate of cookies. You slice the cake. You are in charge of the hospitality of this thing of which you are afraid. And breathe. And breathe. Good. And you sip your tea. And your fear sips its tea. And you have made a place where you can sit with the thing that you fear. And you are safe. You are safe. You are in charge of the thing you fear. And you are forming an acknowledged kinship with this thing. In the next class, I'm going to talk a little more about animism and acknowledged kinship. But for now, know that we all are kindred. Us and the tree and the thing we fear and the dogs and the little yellow monster cat. We are all kindred. It is up to us, though, to acknowledge that. And breathe. And breathe. Now I ask you to look at that thing that you fear. And I want you to physically clap your hands 3 times and the light is going out where you are. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And now the light is out and you are sitting in the darkness with your fear. The fear that you have fed cookies to and given tea to, and that you are now in an acknowledged kinship with. So this is not other than you. This is a piece of you that you have carried for whatever reason, for whatever length of time. And when you are ready, you're going to rise from where you're seated, and the fear will rise on its side. And you will both come round the table in the dark and reach your hands out to each other. That's all. No hugging, no kissing, no embracing. You're reaching your hands out to each other. And when your fingertips touch, that is enough. You are not here to conquer something. You are not here to vanquish something. You are here to understand how you live and acknowledge kinship with this thing you have borne for so long. And when both of you are ready, you go your separate ways and you return to the main hall where each of us is waiting. And breathe and breathe. And now both of our hands are empty, our soft hand and our strong one. And we take each other's hands and we begin the walk back up that lovely, long, circular staircase. We're taking it easy, we're not in any hurry. Good, good, and at long last, we come to the place that is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. And Willow opens the door of the oak and we step out into the bright, piercing sunshine of June. And breathe. And breathe. And we walk together into the house. And we step over the dogs carefully. And we return to our seats, breathing deeply, holding our open hands open, and you sit, you check your grounding, and when you are ready and return fully to us, you open your eyes, and we're here in this place together. Good, good. And you all woke up from it, that's good. You know, sometimes first thing in the morning, it's like, the guided meditation. Is it time for lunch now? Thank you all. And you can do that anytime a fear seems to be overwhelming, whatever the fear is. Good, good. I do that. I mean, I really do have arachnophobia. And so I've done that exercise again and again. And now I can be near spiders without feeling my heart start to pound. If they surprise me, that's still, no promises made with that. But I've used it because I have such a deep admiration for what spiders do and who spiders are. And it seems silly to be afraid of them. So I've used that on any number of occasions. You don't have to do the same fear all the time. If you are afraid of your grandfather because he was a heinous monster, then it may take you many, many trips into that dark womb-like place to find how you have acknowledged kinship with someone who has wounded you deeply. And that's one of the first steps that we always do with ancestor veneration, is that you have to acknowledge your ancestors are not all good people. In fact, some of our ancestors were not at all good. So, you doing okay, baby?
Yeah.
Good. All right, I'm gonna check my notes. I'm gonna check my time. The other thing that when you start to engage in enlightenment deeply, the other thing that will start to happen to you is the sense of reaching out through both light and dark to sense what is going on around you. And as I said yesterday, there are far too many people who think they have been hexed or cursed or whatever, who really, their problem is that the energy in their house is stagnant. It's sometimes as simple as that. I do a thing called an energy trap, which is a circular piece. I use the bottom of an aluminum pie plate. It can be aluminum foil, it can be a mirror, circular piece that lies flat. In the center are flat rocks, 3 flat rocks. It has a candle on it. Around the rocks, there is a ring of heavy salt, like ice cream salt. And around the outer edge is a band of very lightweight salt, like table salt. And you light the candle. You can either use an electric tea light or jump up and look at you like, what? What's going on? Really, the animals are the show this weekend, I think. You can either use a battery-operated tea light or a tea light that you light. If you have crazy animals like these, use a battery-operated one. It acts as a HEPA filter for energy. How many of you have studied feng shui or a little bit? Because what happens is when we bring energy into a room like this, the energy flows with us. Part of the energy flows with us. Part of it gets stuck in corners. It just gets bunged up in the corners. And the more it sits in the corners and stagnates, the more it begins to feel like a presence in the room. So when people come to me and say, oh no, I'm sure I have a ghost in the house, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, the person who called me is the ghost in the house because they have brought in all of the outside fraught energy and it gets stuck in the corners and it feels like there's something there. Because there is something there. There's energy there. So these kind of energy traps, and you could run them throughout your house. They'll start to circulate stuff around. When I do a house clearing, an energy clearing in a house, I have a big old cowbell like the kind cows wear, a big old bell. And we have a local store called the Mass General Store that sells those kind of things. And I needed it to sound a particular way, so when I go through the house going bang, 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 it got me the right vibrations to move the energy. So I'm in the store and I'm ringing cowbells, and this young woman comes running over to me and she goes, "May I help you with something?" And I said, "Yeah, I need to find the right tone for this cowbell." And she said, "Is a cow gonna wear it?" And I said, No, I need it for some work I'm doing. And she said, "Well, please decide, because I mean, a cowbell is noisy." And I'm like, rah, rah, rah. So I went through 3 or 4 of them. I found the one I needed, and she was like hovering over me. I said, "Could I just take the box outside and try it?" "No, you can't take a box outside." What's wrong with you? So when you do that, when you do an energy clearing, and we usually sweep through, you make a lot of noise through, what you're doing is dispersing energy. And as we were talking about protection magic, the first thing you want to do is make sure the energy in your house is nice and clean and vibrant and lively. The next thing you're probably going to want to do is to make sure you are personally shielded and warded. And we talked through shielding yesterday, and I'm going to go talk about that for like 1 minute. But I want to talk about warding because it's super important and not enough people do it. So if I am shielding myself, and I do my, sorry, I had to get grounded, and I do my emerald comes up, and diamonds come up, and rubies come up behind me, and sapphires, and make a big beach ball around me, and I am now protected and shielded. I don't want to have to spend the energy it takes to do that all the time. That expends a lot of energy and takes a fair amount of concentration. You need to do that when you feel something begin to tag onto your wards. And the wards are the energetic protections you put around your car, your home, your property. And if you have those things connected to your personal self, which you will because you're going to set them up, then when you hear something ping off your wards, you'll be able to put your own personal shields up and use all the energy it takes to hold those shields in place while you determine what's coming in. Now, it could have been, I bet you all, if you were doing wards last night, you would have heard the ping of that storm. Because we heard it in the afternoon. It was like, that one's coming in. But if you didn't have wards set up, it might be that you had to wait till the storm actually hit. So you can set up wards exactly the same way that you set up your personal shields. But you need to tie your wards to something in the natural world to hold the energy. An outcropping of rock, particularly beautiful, that beautiful oak tree that we just traveled with. Find something in the natural world to hold your wards so that you don't have to use your own energy to do that, or you don't have to be constantly feeding energy into the wards. You all will have something around you that feels appropriate. If you find something that seems like a good candidate, ask it. I know it sounds crazy. I'm a big tree hugger. So if you're going to go, ask the dog to hold your wood.
Right.
So ask that big old oak tree. I'd like to tag my cords onto you to hold on to. and sense what the answer is, whether it is yes indeed or no, go find somebody else. I don't feel so good. So let some other energy source hold your wards, and then you be responsible for your shielding. I like that. There are all sorts of other ways. Oh, about like 2 minutes. There are all sorts of other ways you can protect the place where you live. So redding, brick dust is a hugely popular thing right now. But any sort of intentional dust will work. If you are using salt to ward your property, make sure the salt doesn't get on the land, because it's really, really bad for your soil. So if you're using salt at your primary entrance and exit, at your windows, you can use Florida water for protection. The reality is you are the protection. It's you. You can use whatever tool. That's why I could list out all these tools that you can use. They're just tools. Because you hold the energy and intention of the world. And you will be the thing that protects you, your family, your animals, your house, your property. You're going to hold the intention of that, knowing that no, there's probably not a dozen people out there like, Cassie, you've been on my last nerve, girl. But that we live in broken cultures, and we live in a massively broken culture, where it seems to be easier to hate and fear someone or something than to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, it's up to all of us, I think, because I'm always ladling some extra responsibility on you. I think it's up to all of us to let other people know that we're not afraid of them anymore. I'm not going to be afraid of you and your crazy hat. I'm just going to love you. I'm just going to love you and your crazy hat. It's as simple as it is. You got some crazy necklace on. I don't trust that crazy necklace. You know what? I'm going to love you. And just see what happens. And I know that makes me sound like a love and light person after all this. After an hour of me saying chocolate chip cookies and moist chocolate cake. Because I want you to see the balance of those things. Because sometimes we are the light bringers, but sometimes we are the dark bringers. And that's our role as children of the earth. To do, but as children of the corn. That's our role as children of the corn. Sometimes we bring the light, sometimes we bring the dark. So, have y'all got any questions, comments? Good. Then go forth into a dark room. Thank you all.